I don't know who Cake is. And I told some students of mine in a class I substitute for, I assist in at our homeschooling co-op, and they were shocked. I don't know who Cake is. Who is Cake? Well, it's an American alternative rock band from the 90s, formed in Sacramento, California. And they have a song I was told to check out called Frank Sinatra. So I'm going to check them out. Have I heard this before? I don't think so. Is it good? I don't know. But we're going to check it out. Let's watch the official HD video. Are you guys ready? Subscribe. Come with me to the 90s and to America to see what this is all about. I'm Rosalie. Welcome. We're all about world music, psychology, philosophy, exploring the world and all it has to offer. And I'm honored you're here. Here we go.
Beyond the suns that guard this roost.
Hold on real quick. His voice is familiar. What are some of their biggest hits? That switch behind the megaphone, distorted old school radio, and now clear vocals, that was a cool switch, fitting to that nostalgic feel. But it's interesting because this one was put on YouTube, or this video at least, the official HD video was put on YouTube 3 years ago. Their greatest hits are Short Skirt, Long Jacket, The Distance, Never There, Trumpet Heavy Arrangements, Dry Irony. Okay. I don't know, but I'm intrigued so far.
Beyond your flowers of flaming truth, beyond your latest ad campaigns, an old man sits collecting stamps in a room all filled with Chinese lamps. He saves what others
His vocal range is impressive.
away. He says that he'll be rich someday. We know of an ancient radiation that hearts dismembered constellations, a faintly glimmering radio station. Radiation that hearts dismembered constellations, a faintly glimmering radio station.
This is so interesting. There is something very old school about this song and about this band and the way they're performing. Obviously, they've been around for a little bit if they were started in the 90s, but it's interesting because it looks like this was from the 1996 album Fashion Nugget, alternative rock song. Before we keep listening, I'm pausing for copyright, but also you came for a breakdown. I'm intrigued by it. I love the trumpet. I love that vintage vibe and how it went from that old megaphone, old microphone vibe to the clear vocals. I'm impressed by his range. He has a very interesting timbre to his voice, the way that his voice can drop so low. There's something about their facial expressions, their aura that gives off a very sassy, sneaky, snarky vibe. And it's just interesting to me to see all these men in their suits. It makes me think of old America. And they look very stone-faced cold, right? As if to say, maybe politicians, the rich old men, as if to say, this is how it's done and don't change it. And I see these band members playing in between them. And I just think it's so necessary for there to be people that are trying to create some type of structure and uphold values. And at the same time, we need the rebels. We need those who question the system. The United States of America, for example, wouldn't agree. It wouldn't exist if there wouldn't have been a group of people that came together and agreed on wanting to move away from it and form an independent nation. It came with plenty of shameful things. Nonetheless, many things were excluded out of the Declaration of Independence that allowed this new country to be still built on wicked things, slavery being an example. And nonetheless, we see this, and also we see that need for rebellion for a generation to question things in order for the United States to happen. And say all this because the Declaration of Independence, the American Revolution, etc., is a topic I'm working through with my children right now. And I see the American flag here, these old men, these politician-looking men sitting there with their expressions, with their skeptical, cold expressions, and these young men trying to bring a message, questioning things, being cynical, being provocative, if you will, from a lyrical standpoint. And there being a need for that. Again, the USA wouldn't exist if there wouldn't have been the Sons of Liberty, those who rebel against it. And still, many things were left out of the Declaration of Independence that put many people at a disadvantage, not only at a disadvantage, that oppressed many people. Slavery being an example. And there being another need for another wave of people that created a revolution, that stood up, that protested, that stood against injustice. There's this weird thing in life and in the universe and in the way the world works, is that it's this constant duality of needing someone to uphold something, to stand for something, and needing someone to go against, to question, to go against the system. And this is kind of the feeling that I get here, that vibe. It's this idea using very surreal imagery, nostalgic imagery to question our comfort, to question finding value in forgotten things, in memory. Ancient radiation, what does that word mean, right? That comforting familiarity of Sinatra's voice, maybe a conversation about longing for the past, the good old days, but also a need to question, to have rebels that go against, that question things and work towards something better.
While Frank Sinatra sings stormy weather, the flies and spiders get along together. Cobwebs fall on an old skipping record.
That trumpet and the guitar is so beautiful. Another thought that comes to mind is maybe also a conversation about, Frank Sinatra's song is playing while these old records are collecting dust. So maybe a nostalgic nod to the past and the beautiful good old days, but also a conversation about how these things distract us. You have Frank Sinatra singing the stormy weather. We have this beautiful trumpet playing in the background, and we are distracted, though, from what's actually happening around us. Here, possibly footage of, what is this, war? Things being, well, not fireworks, but this is so vintage and unique. At first it looked like a city was being bombed, but now it's fireworks. It makes me think of all these distractions, though, that there's something beautiful about the good old days and Frank Sinatra and the like, but at the same time that there's also the people in power are still doing their thing, while we're maybe also collecting dust and there's spider webs on the records. Is this a conversation about the art of good music and of the death of good music and of art? Is this a conversation about how we're being distracted? If that's the case, very relevant, still relevant as ever, this song. Or a conversation about longing for the beautiful things of the past. Very poetic and interesting. It's so catchy. The way he looks at them. This is catchy. This is interesting too, that megaphone. That little boy, and now that little boy now a grown man with the megaphones. But all the politicians have gone out of the room. Was he signaling for that man with the megaphone to come to speak to these politician-looking men? Why are they all walking away now? Very interesting. Very, very interesting. It makes me wonder. The lyrics suggest using past familiar art like Frank Sinatra to cope with the strangeness or difficulty of the present. Yeah, ancient radiation. Ancient radiation. The imagery of an old man collecting stamps and saving what others throw away, right? As he had his old, what was it, a scorpion or old insect, hoping one day it would be of value. You're trying to hold on to the past to gain wealth in the present or the future. Maybe implying a focus on holding on to memories, craftsmanship, resisting the disposable nature of modern culture. True. Phrases like flies and spiders get along together and cobwebs fall on an old skipping record, create a dreamy, slightly decayed atmosphere, which is true, which could imply the death of something old. But to me, maybe also implies how the things we don't care for will decay. Entropy and gravity comes for all of us, right? When we don't keep it present and modern, it becomes old. We forget about things. And there's something beautiful about the nostalgic, about Frank Sinatra, about these old records. But at the same time, everything gets old and a lot of things lose their value unless we continue to give them value. Certain stamps remain valuable because they are older. Maybe a conversation about that duality, that on one hand things get older, we forget and we lose things. And at the same time, sometimes value increases with age because of the age and the time that it's lived. It's interesting. It was featured in the MTV animated series Daria in the episode The Road Warrior. The song is famously featured in the closing scenes of The Sopranos episode The Legend of Tennessee Moltisanti. It is nostalgia, longing, memory, existential reflection, and comfort. Interesting. I don't know. What is that ancient radiation? Because radiation is something harmful, something negative and toxic. Ancient is maybe that old song, that old story, so to speak. That ancient radiation, that thing that consumes and destroys us all is time, is age, is the fact that everything will collect dust and get old. And that the things that are beautiful and nostalgic to us, like Frank Sinatra, those skipping records, they collect dust when there's nobody that values them, like that old man valuing the stamps and valuing these old bugs that he hopes one day will be of value. It's a conversation maybe about age. You have this young boy who becomes a man, I think, has his megaphone. Maybe also that megaphone being a symbol for the need to speak up, to remember, to keep music, to keep art, to keep someone's voice alive. Maybe a conversation about speaking up as a younger man among old men, questioning the way things are done, questioning the status quo. Like I said, the United States of America wouldn't have existed without new men coming along and saying, we've got something to change. And then still things being wicked and new men having to come again and saying, this is still not okay. And there having to be continuous change. It is a very interesting song, very poetic, very profound. I'm continually impressed by the 90s, the 2000s, 60s, 70s, 80s anyways. The songwriting, the poetry, the art of a lot of these bands. I'm excited I got to check this out with you today. What are your thoughts on this one? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next ride. Ayo!